The Simply Good Foods company ended up taking my advice to get more snackier in their product portfolio. But is that enough to offset the declining sales across both of their brands' protein bar SKUs? On April 7th of 2021, the Simply Good Foods company reported its fiscal 2021 quarter 2 earnings. This is for the period that ended on February 27th of 2021. As usual, I'm going to start by running through some of the high-level financial data that was associated with the earnings report, the conference call, and any other associated presentation, slides, or data. While that's going to definitely update us on the health and fitness snacking portfolio that owns both Quest Nutrition and Atkins Nutritionals, that context will also provide me the basis of expanded strategic commentary on trends within the health and fitness snacking categories. So let's first kind of cover some of the revenue numbers. In fiscal 2021, quarter 2, the net revenues of Simply Good Foods company was $230.6 million. That was up 1.5% year over year, but it was flat quarter over quarter. What made up that 1.5% year over year growth was that the Simply Protein divestiture and then exiting the European market impacted the sales negatively 1.2%. North America was up 1% and international was up 1.7%. So if you look at this from an organic basis, the revenue was up 2.7%. Gross profit margin was 39.1%. This was an increase of 150 basis points year over year. Let's kind of go brand by brand. We'll cover Atkins Nutritionals first. The retail takeaway was down 5.7% year over year, which was exactly the same as last quarter. The biggest sales channel bright spot for Atkins continues to be the performance in the digital channel. Their sales were up around 50% year over year. Shakes outperformed other categories online with about 50% of the total digital sales coming in that product format. The Atkins Indulge Confections lineup continued to be strong at 14.3% year over year point of sales growth. Bars and shakes continued to be off due to fewer on-the-go usage occasions and lower shopping trips in the mass channel. They actually did some internal data collection with the Atkins Nutritional brand. They found that there was more correlation between Atkins compared to Quest in terms of consumer mobility and needing to get people back on the go. But Simply Good Foods company is still bullish on the brand, and this is surrounding the renewed interest in the weight management category and some early indications of increased consumer mobility. Now looking at the Quest Nutrition brand, their retail takeaway in tracked channels increased 16% year over year. This growth was driven by cookies, chips, and confections. If we look at the Quest bars, this is still the largest part of the product portfolio, but it was down 4.3% year over year. Incrementally on a quarter over quarter basis, this did get better, and it's important to note that Quest bars performed better than protein bar category average, which was down 11.2%. E-commerce continues to increase at approximately 60% year over year. Quest bar continues to be the #1 selling protein bar on Amazon, and the company's leadership also mentioned that the chips SKUs have doubled on Amazon, while both the bars and the cookies were up 50% year over year on Amazon. Now, I mentioned in the introduction of this content that the Simply Good Foods company definitely listened to some of my advice. And what I mean here, if you hadn't consumed that content, was that I provided a business case for why the company should transition to a more snackier product portfolio, regardless of what was happening with the larger macro trends around consumer mobility. And it looks like at least the Quest Nutrition brand was already on the same wavelength. After they successfully re-released their Quest peanut butter cups to rave reviews and high sales velocity, they decided to build on that momentum by recently releasing their Quest Candy Bites and Quest Candy Bar this week. In an original article that I wrote just over 3 years ago, and I'll leave that link down below in the description, I called for active nutrition companies to look beyond protein bars and into more confectionery categories that they could add a functional twist to. I mentioned that if you follow the sports nutrition CPG space closely, you have seen some launches that would be more associated with confectionery type CPG products. While most active nutrition brands have not innovated in this manner, I believe these product launches will be an indicator of future product development. So I think now, 3 years later, we can definitely see that that was a resounding yes in terms of where the product development cycle had went to. It hasn't been a flooding of the market, and I think that has to do with a lot of the complexity around the product to really make it great. But if you do have a chance to read that previous article, you know that I provided also some further commentary on just like product development strategies. I broke this down into kind of animal-based or plant-based, and I mentioned that if you were using dairy or animal-based protein, you really had to take chances. You had to look at new formats. You had to kind of walk the aisles, see what you could remake in a functional or better for you way. And there would be a ton of opportunities that I think that consumers would love to kind of jump into ecstatically. And I think you've seen that over these years, that if a product is really great, that's remaking a well-loved conventional snacking category, consumers are all in and really wanting more of those. But on the plant-based protein side, because there's a lot less competitors, the market is kind of less saturated, I guess you could say, I still think you stick to more well-known formats like bars, cookies, and others, because there hasn't been a lot of those variations and a ton of really great products being executed yet. And you don't want to add too much risk to already launching a new CPG product that has a ton of inherent risk already. I also made some commentary on flavor opportunities. I wanted to push brands really past the basic chocolates, chocolate peanut butters, chocolate mints, those types of flavors. I think that the environment right now, with consumers being interested in new flavors and discovery of new products, I think it's prime for brands to take chances. And if they do take chances, I think they'll be rewarded as long as they're executed on appropriately. And if you're looking for an upstart brand in the space that has a ton of legs for growth, in my opinion, that would be Midday Squares. This is a Montreal, Canada-based brand that just raised $4 million to expand into the US market. They have website copy that I love that says, "Everything a chocolate bar isn't, everything a protein bar wishes it was." Just want to end on some final thoughts. The Simply Good Foods company continues to be uniquely positioned in this complex business environment that we are in right now. They are one of the US leaders in terms of the very attractive nutritional snacking categories. These categories still are underpenetrated in households. I think it's somewhere around 50%. Simply Good Foods company has two very well-known brands in these categories that have strong, compelling, large-scale brands that are attached to mega trends within both health and fitness and on-the-go nutrition. Both of those brands are very diversified in terms of their products, their retail channels, a lot of their strategies in which they use, so very well balanced, which all kind of rolls up into me being continuously impressed by how well the brands within the Simply Good Foods company portfolio has performed against this complex business environment. And I think that the company has an extremely bright future. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.